He's waited patiently. He comes in diligently. You've read his stuff in the Marina Times. He writes about all things, but he is the culture blaster. When you talk about movies with superheroes, you talk about comic book characters that they've built franchises around, the Marvel universe, the DC universe. Then you talk about some Korean subtitle film, some French film. This guy,
he knows it all.
He is amazing. I mean, I'm not just saying that. I'm astounded by Michael Snyder's breadth of knowledge and love. He really does love it. And that's not to mention his love of music. And he comes and goes. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Mark. Happy Friday to you, to Kim, to Albert, to our listeners. Love you all. Oh my God, breaking news. I've got breaking news here.
Breaking news. What is it?
George Santos has just been convicted of assault with a growing nose after a congressional speech.
I get what
Morning.
you did that. Yeah, there
fine.
you go, because of the
A
Pinocchio
little
thing.
political bent there. And
Yeah,
actually, it's because I'm still glowing after having seen our pal Greg Proops do a stand-up set at Flappers in Burbank. You know, I live between San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to give him a quick plug.
Well, Proops is amazing, and I used to never miss his show when he was
He's a brilliant guy,
when
and
he was
actually,
in San Francisco.
you know what he said? He said he'd love to be on the program. And
Seriously?
So,
I'd love
yes.
to have him on. That'd be great. I'll hold him to that.
His latest comedy album, In the City, is now available. It was improvised and recorded live in San Francisco at the venerable Punchline, where Greg was, as usual, as he puts it, spliffed, riffed, super woke, and suited up.
He is so great, man, and I'd love to help him promote the album. He should come on. And I missed, was it Venerable Days? Yeah, Venerable is the ding word.
Yeah. I also want to point out quickly that he did the Punchline over New Year's, and it was a wonderful glorious run there. And, he goes by the title The Smartest Man in the World. And if you listen to his hilarious and astute pop culture and news-informed routines, it's like a high wire act. And he has a prodigious, spontaneous Proopcast.
You just woo.
Ding him for prodigious, please.
You can purchase In the City in various formats by going to gregproops.com and clicking on the proper link.
Now we don't need to have Greg Proops on to promote the album. Snyder just did it.
No, he's got more stuff coming up. He's doing Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, he's very funny as an improv artist.
Nationwide.
He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I'm so filled with the glory of Proops having seen him this week.
Well, we will have him on. Absolutely 100% we'll have him on. It's those of you who love Greg Proops, as we do. We will have him on. Thank you, Michael, for kind of being our go-between on that.
I'm happy to do it.
Now, what are you going to be talking about this week?
Well, I do want to
You have
start
about
out.
90 seconds left before we have to
Hey,
wrap you
listen,
up.
all I can say is
You decided to. It's not my fault. You want to make your whole segment about Greg Proops?
No, I just had to give him his props. I wanted to tell you that the 20th anniversary of the Noir City Film Noir Festival starts today and runs till the 29th at the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland. And it's fantastic. They dredge up things that people haven't seen in years and years and years, restored prints of stuff. And if you like film noir, and I do, I like it when there's an anti-hero at the heart of it, and he's trying to clear his own name or do some horrible scam. Love that stuff. And this year's poster for Noir City features a longtime Miss Film Noir, Audra Wolfman, who, by the way, is the most fatale of femmes in these things. She's always got a gun or a cig. Anyway, the Film Noir Festival is happening.
It's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
It is. Let's get to some new movies, because that's why we're here, isn't it?
There's Greg Proops. They're showing a picture of Greg Proops now.
Excellent. Okay, so let's kick it off with Missing. Searching, the very clever 2018 John Cho thriller that played out entirely on screens, primarily computer and phone, was clearly the template for Missing, an engaging thriller that, like Searching, tells its story on digital media. Even when it challenges credibility here and there, it has enough twists and turns to deliver an engaging mystery. The protagonist is June, a student played by Storm Reed, who you may recall from the TV series Euphoria. She was in A Wrinkle in Time. June's mother, played by the very familiar Nia Long, has gone on a Colombian vacation with her new boyfriend, who incidentally is played by Ken Leung of TV's addictive puzzle box Lost. You see Ken up there and you think, there's going to be some twists and turns. Anyway, even though June and her mom have had a somewhat stunted relationship, strained and whatever, June seems a bit fixated on her long-departed father, which causes the division between her and her single mom to grow even greater. But June becomes apprehensive when mom and boyfriend never return from Colombia. So using all the tech at her disposal, June has to somehow find out what happened and convince balky authorities to help her get her mom back if possible. As with Searching, the visual approach is initially kind of wonky, but you quickly adapt to it, and Reed and Long make for a believable mother and daughter that earn your sympathy. This was written and directed by the team of Will Merrick and Nicholas D. Johnson. I enjoyed Missing, especially here in the January doldrums. Wow. It's available in theaters only for now, but I bet you it'll be fun to watch at home. Mark, you know the phrase "a nasty piece of work"? that's how I. No, I'm kidding. This is totally the vibe I got from the smart and cynical new movie "When You Finish Saving the World," which is written and directed by actor Jesse Eisenberg.
Wow. Kim, do you have any images from When You Finish Saving the World that you've got going for us?
wait, don't even. Wait. You know how the characters Eisenberg plays are often weirdo nerds or simply obnoxious jerks? I mean, think about it for a second. Right. Mark Zuckerberg in The Social Network, Lex Luthor in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, they come to mind. Well, the main characters Eisenberg has created for When You Finish Saving the World seem to reflect his specialty. They are decidedly off-putting. At the center of the movie are a work-obsessed social worker with an unhealthy fixation on one of her clients, and her son, who is a fledgling singer-songwriter trying to attain followers and stardom on social media via regular online performances from his bedroom. These two are so selfishly wrapped up in their respective worlds that the mother-son relationship has withered. You throw in the diffident dad, and this is a family you would rather not join for dinner. I'm not coming over to have a bite to eat with these people.
Wow, diffident, I'll ding. Go ahead, yes.
But there's a fascination to watching them at odds with one another as they fitfully interact with and alienate their respective peers with such unlikable people. When You Finish Saving the World is made palatable by the casting of the award-laden leading lady Julianne Moore as the mother, and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things as the son, and even J.O. Sanders in the more peripheral role as the father. The real surprise here is how the family's foibles can evoke pity and even empathy when they're so cringe-inducing. Through it all, Eisenberg impressively manages to actually weigh in on some big-picture stuff like the gray area between social justice warriors and virtue signalers. You know, virtue signalers are social justice warriors that are just out to, like, bring glory upon themselves.
Sure.
Ultimately, I was impressed by When You Finish Saving the World, which is in theaters.
Wow. Okay, so there's a lot going on there, it sounds like, but in the end, you like it.
Yeah, I just thought it was compelling to watch these people, even if you're going like, geez, cut me a break.
Okay.
Okay, Alice Darling is an intimate look at Alice, a woman who is being psychologically beaten down by an abusive relationship with a handsome, self-centered artist. So she decides to get out of town and go on an all-girl trip with two lifelong friends. But even miles from her everyday city life and hanging with her gals at a comfy lakeside vacation home, Alice is still dogged by the specter of her boyfriend and diminished by, it's kind of like remote control he seems to have over her. Wow. This nightmarish codependence has undermined the bond she shares with her girlfriends, and something's got to give. Anna Kendrick, so good as blithe, cheerful, or naive characters in movies like Pitch Perfect and Up in the Air, plays Alice and delivers the dark and damaged goods. And it's great to see Winmu Mosaku, best known as a time variance agent on Marvel's Loki series, flexing her dramatic chops as Alice's loyal pal Sophie. Alice Darling was written by Alana Francis and directed by Mary Nye, and these women seem to know and understand Alice's plight well enough to bring some hard truths to the project. It's not a masterpiece, it's more of a snapshot, but Kendrick brings her A game, and that's enough to recommend it. Alice Darling is in theaters.
Wow. I will ding blithely, by the way, if I have to. Go ahead. Yeah.
Just quickly, There's Something Wrong with the Children is a tight little low-budget horror movie that makes something out of a very simple premise. Two couples, Margaret and Ben, and Ellie and Thomas, are on a weekend getaway. Ellie and Thomas have brought along their children. The 6 vacationers go for a walk in the nearby woods and come upon an old and elaborate structure with a back chamber that leads to a strange deep hole in the ground. The kids seem a little dazed by the experience, and that night they seem a little off. The next morning, they start acting palpably weird, or at least Ben thinks that they're a little messed up, even as Margaret and the kids' parents think he's overreacting. Is he overreacting? To find out, you have to see the movie, which is a decent diversion for horror fans from director Roxanne Benjamin. Here's a casting note. Amanda Crew from the terrific HBO techie sitcom Silicon Valley plays the kid's mother. This is on demand at the usual places, Amazon Prime, Vudu, etc.
There's something wrong with the children is what that's called.
That sounds really scary.
Yes.
Well, for a mom, it must be doubly scary.
Michael likes the scary stuff. Kim.
Have you ever said to yourself, while looking at your kids, Kim, there's something wrong with the children?
More than once, Michael.
Indeed. Oh, my
God. He also liked Alice Darling. And that's in theaters?
It is in theaters.
And when you finish Saving the World, that's the Jesse Eisenberg thing, he liked that also.
Yeah, that's kind of the best of the 4 movies, I think.
Then,
although Missing has its...
Missing you also liked.
These are all mezzo, but yeah, not a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
Is
in any
there a
case.
thing at the beginning of the year where movies just are mezzo? Though the
we've
January films are not the ones that
we've talked about this. It's the
loves,
dumping ground, generally speaking, and a few of the award contenders finally get wide release. For instance, even though it's not going to win anything, The Son, which features a great performance by Hugh Jackman, opened wide today. It's not as good as The Father, the previous film by Florian Zeller. I think that's the guy's name.
Yeah.
But that's happening.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
you reviewed it here, and you said you said exactly what you just said, which is that it's okay.
I'll say quickly, TV has some gems, and I'll just give you bullet points. Your Honor on Showtime and Paramount has its 2nd season with Bryan Cranston as a respected New Orleans judge whose moral fibers tested by family tragedy, local crime bosses, and his own flaws. And man, I got to tell you, I love New Orleans. So being there with Bryan Cranston an hour a week as this thing runs is great. And I don't want to tell you about the show particularly because if you haven't seen it, you have to start at the beginning. And Series 1 is on Paramount Plus.
It is brilliant. It is brilliant. I just realized I have Paramount Plus because I got another bill for $9.99. I literally didn't even remember. I was like, that's a topic for another time. Are we going to do a separate? Not now, but a separate segment about what we're going to do.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Mostly British Film Festival and some TV stuff.
Good. So
if we have the time. Also, quickly, The Last of Us.
That'll be next week.
The dystopian sci-fi thing on HBO started last week. I am thoroughly excited by The Last of Us. Even though it's based on a video game, this looks fantastic.
I've heard great things about it, too.
And one more guilty pleasure, that 90s show dropped on Netflix today. It's a fun, fluffy sitcom sequel to that 70s show. Returning to Point Place, Wisconsin, and the home of Red and Kitty Foreman, played, as before, by the great Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp. And the original stars come back. Their kids are the ones that are focused on, but they include, of course, Topher Grace and your friend Laura Prepon as Eric and Donna, and their daughter is a central figure here. And we also get Ashton Kutcher and his bride, Mila Kunis, as Kelso and Jackie.
That's all the 70s people.
Yeah, so you get them doing cameos, and you feel like it's an extension. I enjoyed it.
That 90s show. Yeah, I used to play cards on the set of that 70s show every week. It was pretty wild. It's a great crew. I love them. And feel bad that I don't see them anymore.
Yeah, Wilmer Valderrama is back. The one who isn't back is Danny Masterson, and we know why.
He's got his own problems.
We know why.
He comes and goes.
Go Niners!
Go Niners. Read them in the Marina Times. I know. It's been one of those days where we've had a lot of stuff going on.